So throughout these lessons, we have learned different basic coding mechanics, but we haven't really applied them all together to create something, so that is what we will be doing today. So today we will be making a program that basically, alright, so first of all, I think it would be pretty nice if we ask the user how many times that they want their number doubled. So let's create a variable for that. For this, let's just call it time, since that's simple, I guess. Then we will proceed with the standard input stuff that just asks the user. So let's start off with int, since we are getting an integer. Then we'll put input, and then we'll ask our question. So since we're asking how many times the user wants their number doubled, let's just ask how many times do you want your number doubled. So now we pretty much will run into a roadblock. If the user types in 0 or a number below that, that won't really work, since you can't like write out a number a negative amount of times. So how do we avoid this? Well, in order to avoid this, we will basically create a diagnostic while loop, which is just a while loop that makes sure that the user types in what we want. So let's start with while time is less than or equal to 0, since we don't really want it printed 0 times as well. And there we go. Remember to indent the line before these things, but Visual Studio Code should just do it for you. If it doesn't, then you can just press tab on your computer and it just does the same thing. Now we will basically write our error message. So let's write print \n, which makes it look prettier. You don't have to do it. I just think it will make it look prettier since it just creates a new line. And now let's write that is invalid. Now I'd say we should leave a little hint for our user to make them know what stuff they actually should be typing out, just to point them into the right direction. So let's just write hint, sorry for that, hint no numbers below 0 or equal to 0, and \n. And now in the next line, we'll just copy this input statement from here, and then that's pretty much it. So what this will basically do is it will just loop over and over again until the user types in the correct number. Now that we have how many times the number will be doubled, let's get the actual number itself. So let's just call this num1, since that's simple, and just get it exactly how we got it up here. So honestly, I'm just going to just copy and paste this thing because it's literally the same exact thing. And yeah, I'm just going to change the question. Turn integer above 0 or less than or equal to 5, since we don't really want two big numbers here, but you don't really need to include that. You can just say enter an integer. Now that that's done, let's make sure that the user doesn't type a number outside of our range. So once again, we will make another diagnostic while loop. So let's write while num1 is less than or equal to 0 or num1 is greater than 5, then we'll put a colon, and then that's it. Now in the space below, there are two ways that the user can write something wrong, through either typing a number below or equal to 0 or a number above 5. So let's create if statements for our code to react differently to those two situations. So let's start with 0. Let's write if num1 is less than or equal to 0, like we had up here. I'm just going to add a little space there to make it look better. If num1 is less than or equal to 0, colon. So for this, let's write print that is below or equal to 0. Try again. And then let's write 2 \n to basically make it look better. This time we're just gonna have it 2 lines down instead of 1. And now let's just get the input again. You already know the deal. Just copy and paste what you set up here because it's the same thing. You don't need to write it over again. And yeah, that's it for less than or equal to 0. Now let's move on to above 5. So let's write elif num1 is above 5. Always remember to put the colon down or else it won't work. Then we'll just do exactly how we did it above. Now that we have all that done, we should have our inputs. So now let's print them all. And so now we will use format to plug our inputs into a sort of print statement. So we will start off with \n to make a new line, and then we will write squiggly line, doubled squiggly line times is, and then we'll just put another \n. So now after that we're gonna put .format and then a parentheses. Then we will plug in our variables in the exact order we want it for. Now, printing these numbers is fairly simple. For this, we will use a for loop. So let's start by for I in range. Now we'll start with our starting value, which should be 0. Then our ending value, which should be time, and then how much times we will go up by every time the code runs, which should be 1. Then our colon. So basically in the line here, we will just print num1 exactly how it is. Nothing fancy we need to do there. And then we need to basically double num1. So we will basically rewrite what num1 is by saying num1 equals num1 asterisk 2, which basically means num1 raised to the power of 2, which is exactly what doubling a number is. Yeah, that should just work. So if we go up here and we run our code, it will say how many times do you want your number doubled. Let's first test if our diagnostic loop works. So we will just write -2, a number that is below 0. And then, as you can see, it will say that is invalid. Try again. Our hint is also here. Then we'll try 0 again. Again, invalid number since we set it that way. So we'll put in a valid number, which could be 3 maybe. And then it will ask us an integer above 0 or less than or equal to 5. So let's test out our diagnostic for loop. First of all, we're going to type in a number that is not in the range, which is -2. As you can see, since it's below or equal to 0, it will give us an error message saying that is below or equal to 0. If we try a number that is bigger than 5, then it will just say that is above 5. Try again. So now let's try entering a number that's in the range like 3, and as you can see, it works. It says 3 doubled 3 times is 3, 9, and then 81. And that's it. If you found this helpful, leave a like. And yeah, that's it. See ya.